Have you ever wondered why every time a relationship starts to get serious, you feel an inexplicable urge to run? Why, when someone shows genuine interest in getting to know you deeply, you create invisible barriers? If you're watching this video, you've probably already recognized this pattern in yourself that sabotages your chances of building true connections. What if I told you that this fear of intimacy isn't a character flaw, but rather a protective mechanism that can be understood and transformed? Stay until the end of this video, because I'm going to share with you not only the psychological roots of this fear, but also a practical and compassionate path to overcome it. The fear of intimacy is like a hyper-vigilant guardian that lives within us, always ready to sound the alarm when someone gets too close to our inner world. This guardian was formed over years of experiences, some conscious, others not so much. Maybe you grew up in an environment where vulnerability was seen as weakness, where expressing emotional needs resulted in rejection or ridicule. Or perhaps you experienced relational traumas that taught your nervous system that emotional closeness equals imminent danger. Psychology teaches us that the fear of intimacy is deeply linked to our attachment style, a concept developed by psychologist John Bowlby. People with avoidant attachment, for example, learned early on that emotional independence is safer than interdependence. They developed an almost supernatural ability to disconnect emotionally when relationships become too close. It's as if they had an emotional ejection button that is automatically triggered when they detect growing intimacy. But here's something fascinating I discovered while studying this topic. The fear of intimacy is not really about the fear of being close to someone. It's about the fear of being truly seen, known, and potentially rejected for who you really are. It's the silent terror that if someone really knows your flaws, insecurities, shame, and vulnerabilities, that person will inevitably leave. So your mind, in a desperate attempt to protect you, prefers to keep everyone at a safe distance. Imagine Sarah, a 32-year-old woman who always had relationships that lasted exactly 6 months. Like a Swiss watch, whenever it reached this milestone, she would start finding flaws in her partner that didn't exist before. She didn't realize it, but her internal system was programmed to sabotage the relationship before it reached the point where she would have to open up completely. During our sessions, Sarah discovered that this pattern began in adolescence, when she opened up vulnerably to a boyfriend who later spread her secrets throughout the school. Her brain created an association. Emotional intimacy equals public humiliation. The first step to overcome the fear of intimacy is developing what I call compassionate curiosity about your own patterns. It's not about judging or criticizing yourself, but about gently observing how you behave when someone tries to get emotionally close. Do you change the subject when the conversation gets too personal? Do you create unnecessary conflicts when you feel you're falling in love? Do you disappear for days when someone expresses deep feelings for you? All of these are unconscious strategies to maintain emotional distance. Neuroscience shows us something revolutionary. Our brain can be rewired, reprogrammed through conscious and repetitive experiences. This means that the neural patterns that created your fear of intimacy can be gradually replaced by new circuits that associate emotional closeness with safety and growth, not danger and rejection. But this requires patience, self-compassion, and, ironically, the courage to be vulnerable with yourself first. A powerful exercise I recommend is what I call gradual emotional mapping. Start by identifying specific moments in a relationship where you feel the urge to pull away. Maybe it's when someone asks about your family, or when they express that they miss you, or when they suggest future plans together. Write down these triggers without judgment, just observing the pattern. Then, for each identified trigger, ask yourself, what story from my past is being activated here? What old wound is being touched? I remember working with Marcus, a 28-year-old man who had an interesting pattern. Whenever a woman said, "I love you," he felt a mixture of panic and irritation. During our exploration, we discovered that his mother used to use the phrase, "I love you," followed by devastating criticism or emotional abandonment. His brain had created the association. Declarations of love are followed by pain. Once Marcus understood this connection, we could work to create healthier new associations. The practice of gradual self-disclosure is fundamental in this healing process. Instead of jumping from zero intimacy to total vulnerability, which can reactivate your fears, practice sharing aspects of yourself in progressive layers. Start with smaller, less threatening vulnerabilities and observe how the person responds. This allows your nervous system to gradually learn that not every emotional opening results in rejection or hurt. For example, instead of completely hiding your insecurities, you might start by sharing something like, "Sometimes I feel anxious in social situations. It's a real vulnerability, but not so deep that it activates all your internal alarms." When you perceive that this revelation was received with empathy and not judgment, your brain begins to update its beliefs about emotional intimacy. Another crucial aspect is learning to distinguish between emotionally safe people and those who might actually pose a risk to your vulnerability. Not everyone deserves access to your most intimate spaces, and emotional discernment is a vital skill. Emotionally safe people respond to your vulnerability with empathy. Don't use your insecurities against you. Respect your boundaries and demonstrate consistency between words and actions. Therapy also plays a fundamental role in this journey. A good therapist offers what we call a corrective relationship, a safe experience of emotional intimacy that can gradually rewire your neural associations. In therapy, you practice being seen, understood, and accepted, even with your vulnerabilities, creating an internal template of how intimate relationships can be safe and nurturing. It's important to understand that overcoming the fear of intimacy doesn't mean completely eliminating your emotional caution. Some level of protection is healthy and adaptive. The goal is to develop emotional flexibility, the ability to open up when it's safe and appropriate, and maintain boundaries when necessary. It's about replacing automatic fear reactions with conscious choices based on present reality, not past traumas. Also, practice what I call tolerance for emotional discomfort. The fear of intimacy often manifests as physical discomfort, racing heart, chest tightness, urge to flee. Instead of automatically acting on these sensations, learn to stay present with them. Breathe deeply, acknowledge the sensation, and remind yourself, "This discomfort is my old system trying to protect me, but I am safe now." Patience with yourself is absolutely crucial in this process. Deep changes in relational patterns take time, and there will be moments where you feel like you're regressing. This is normal and part of the process. Every time you choose to stay present instead of running, every small moment of shared vulnerability, you're literally rewiring your brain for new relational possibilities. Remember, the goal isn't to become completely emotionally disarmed, but rather to develop the wisdom to know when it's safe to let your guard down and when it's prudent to maintain it. True intimacy isn't about having no boundaries, but about consciously choosing with whom and when to share your most sacred spaces. If this content resonated with you, if you recognized your own patterns in these words, know that you are not alone in this journey. Thousands of people around the world are working to heal their relational wounds and create more authentic connections. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and keep following our work here at Self-Mind. See you in the next video, where we'll explore how to identify emotionally safe people to practice this new intimacy you're learning to build.